Trăiește emoția.
Okay, testing now. Yeah. So, as I was saying, Jesus. Uh, every time OBS has a patch, they tinker with the audio settings. I don't know why they do that. You know, like people who don't stream think it's like, you're a boomer because you don't know how to use technology. It's not that. I know how to use technology, but it's like, it's a thing that you set up. And after the patch, the things that you have set up are being messed with. Imagine if you have a car. Do you have a car? Do you have a driver's license? Imagine if you have a car and every single time you take it to the repair shop, like all the settings that you have on your car are being changed, right? So the place where you place your driving license is changed. The place where the key goes into the ignition is changed. You got the seat and the mirrors are being tinkered with, and you realize this as you're on the road, and it's very annoying, right? It's not like you don't know how to set these things. It's just that, like, it's unexpected, especially since the patches don't come very often and you're taken by surprise. But as I was saying, shut the fuck up, Dave L. Today we're going to be discussing about something very interesting, which is the fact that a judge said that she is more woman than the women who are against allowing people who identify as women to walk in a spa, right? So now I understand that being a woman is a dial. Like, see, I was thinking we're fighting against gender roles and gender stereotypes, but not only are we not, it seems that that there is like a level of womanhood. Like, you can measure women between each other. Some women can be more women than others, it seems. Maybe we should call them women plus. But anyway, right, so the whole conundrum, and we're going to get into it a little bit later. You know, like I'm going to wait 30 minutes as usual before we get into the main news, but we can talk a little bit about it. If you can share this stream on Discord, various forums, and other places you frequent, I would appreciate it. But as I was saying, the whole idea is that there should be places on planet Earth where women can enter without having to see a stranger's penis, right? Up until now, it was customary that women should only see the penis of their husband, their boyfriend, or their child, you know, up until a certain age, right? So when the mother bathes her 2-year-old son, you know, that's acceptable. But other than that, it's kind of limited. You don't really want women to be exposed to the genitalia, right? Like, I genuinely thought that this is the case, but apparently, by using language jutsu, by manipulating the language like a ninja shinobi, we have now come to the conclusion that it's not only acceptable for women to watch another person's pee-pee, but in some places it's mandatory. Like, you cannot stop. You should not prevent it to happen, because then you're a raging bigot. Hello V, I hope you are doing well and have a nice day. Thank you, American Outlier. Also, we drive automobiles, not Transformers. Wasn't there like a sequence in the Transformer movie where they could actually drive the Transformer thing? I know what you meant, but I'm very careful. Very careful with the TOS. So yes, in my opinion, see, I'm not an expert, but I do think that this is going to ruin that particular business. Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, even the women that are very progressive and forward-thinking probably do not want their daughter to see a stranger's pee-pee. Even if the stranger just doesn't want to do anything about, but he's just there. You know, he's wiggling in the air. He's doing the helicopter. I wonder, you know, like the judge does seem to be an elderly lady, so probably she doesn't really care that much, but would she want her daughter to see that? You know, would she want... maybe she's into that. Who knows? We're going to look at it a little bit later. What race is the judge? I do not know. I do not care. I did not 23andMe her. I did carbon date her. She seems close to retirement. Now, apparently there's another law which is going to pass in California. It's not passing yet, but it's being proposed. Let me see if I can find it. I got a lot of rainbow stuff. Very dangerous to talk about these issues this month. I have to be very careful with what I say. Because you never know. You know, it only takes one misspoken word. One super chat that tries to pull your tongue and expose your negative thinking to the world. Where the fuck is the law? Where did it go? Here we go. Breaking news. Oh. Trending politics. From California. California bill would charge parents who don't affirm transgenderism with child abuse. This is already a thing in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Was there a person arrested because of that? Like, if you misgender your daughter, you can end up with a fine, or worse, it's kind of like hitting her with a broom. Like the same... I know that's in Canada. I thought that in America you can't do that due to the fact that you have free speech. So, apparently, and unfortunately, I know it's a tragedy, but misgendering is protected by the First Amendment. So, I don't see what the California bill is trying to do, but let's see. The addition suggests that a parent support an affirmation of their child's self-identity. But what I love is, like, gender affirmation, right? So, like, it's affirmation. It implies that the child can never be wrong. Like, it implies that under no circumstance, there is absolutely no possibility that the child can be wrong. Now, the child can believe, like I believed when I was a kid, that I was Superman. That is incorrect. You know, I also believed in Santa Claus. That is incorrect. However, if I believed that I was Ariel because I like the latest Disney movie, then the parents, I guess, should have affirmed that, because otherwise, according to the new bill, it states that if one parent objects to a name or gender marker change to affirm a minor's gender identity, the court should strongly consider that affirming the minor's gender identity is in the best interest of the child. This does not require the court to side with the objecting parent, but adds it as a factor to consider. Second, in child custody proceedings, the court would be required to consider a parent's affirmation of their child's gender identity when determining that the best interest of the child. This bill does not uniquely impact parental rights, and it is in line with the court's responsibility to make decisions. Okay, so basically, they're not going to fine you if you have two parents that misgender. But in the case where one parent misgenders and the other one doesn't, it's considered that the best interests of the child are served by the parent who doesn't misgender. When you say that gender affirmation is in the child's best interest for health and safety and welfare, it takes nothing to say non-affirmation is now abuse, because you're not taking care of the health, safety, and welfare if you're not affirming them. I love how these are blanket statements, right? Like, they don't really consider individual cases or individual people anymore. People are just like a mash of things, you know? It's like a sack of marbles that have the same properties, same, same things. You know, like, people aren't a product of their lived experiences anymore. No, it's like, All the people are just mashed in together, and in every single situation, with no exception, non-affirmation is abuse. What I also find interesting is the whole core of woke ideology. I need to make a video about it, because I had a revelation one day. You know, I was on the pooper. Do you guys sit on the... You sit on the pooper, right? You know, there's two types of people that sit on the pooper. People who sit on the pooper for very little. Like, they sit on the pooper for like 30 seconds and they're done. And then there's people that sit on the pooper, it's like giving birth. And they have to sit and sit. And when you're sitting, there's nothing to do. So, like, some people... They just, like, look around, but other people, they start reading things while they're on the pooper. And, apparently, that's when their mind becomes wandering and they discover things. I am one of those people. I am one. You squat on the pooper. Fuck is wrong with you? My God. Jesus. Spock. Holy shit. How can you squat on the pooper? You're like an owl, right? Like, I'm trying to imagine the toilet, and I see Spock, a grown-ass man, just sitting on the pooper like an owl. Like a rooster on top of the hen house. How many... Why don't you stand up then? You know, like if you're squatting, might as well do it all the way. Like, why stop halfway? Just stand up and do it like a man. Is this a thing? Like, okay, how many of you actually squat? Holy shit, I'm coming across a very bizarre phenomena. Why do you not go to that Turkish bathroom, you know, the one with a hole in the ground? I always hated those, because you can't sit. Yeah, like, look, if you go to a toilet that's on the ground, then it's understandable, but it's not desirable to have such a toilet in the house. It's not comfortable. You gotta sit. I do understand that Muslim squat, but unfortunately for me, I'm not a Muslim. I like to have comfort when I'm on the pooper. I like the fact that the Germans came up with the idea, National Pride Month in June. Now we just have to do something similar. I will have to look into it, because a lot of people are talking about that. Anyway, right, so hold on. I'm still a little bit traumatized by the image of a grown-ass man sitting on the edge of the toilet. Like an owl. Bleh. Do you think women do that too? Like that? Are there women that go to the toilet and they sit like a vampire there? Like a hawk ready to pounce? Anyway, right. Do share this live stream. I gotta say, if you have Discords, friends and family, your dog, share this live stream. I would appreciate it. I wanna grow this channel again. This channel is suffering. And I'm very entertaining. Anyway, so what I discovered when I was on the pooper is that the woke ideology, the main problem with it, like where it could have been ideologically stopped, is when they think that power is shared among groups of people rather than the individual. So basically, if a white person has power, he does not share it with the white race. But this is what social justice believes, right? And it's the same, like, but at the same time, they will say, well, because Barack Obama was president, that doesn't mean that black people were empowered. Which is true, right? Like the wealth that Michelle Obama has is not shared around with other black people. The wealth that Michelle Obama has, or the power, is also not being spread around, right? Because individuals hold power. Now, individuals can choose to share with some other people, but it is not necessarily based on ethnicity or race. Or it can be, but it's not due to that. It's more like they can share with their families, right? But they can also share with their circle of friends. Now, the idea is that it is not the group that shares the power. And as such, the whole woke ideology falls apart because they do not account for human beings. They account for like groups of people, percentages. Percentages on a paper, right? So that's literally what it is. That, like, they believe if a white person is empowered, then all white people benefit. It is a flawed ideology. It doesn't make any fucking sense. See, I identify as having a huge channel. You guys need to affirm it. Exactly like Wrathful Slime said. Should I put a slime into my video game? Are they popular? Maybe I should have a slime. There's another thing that I don't understand, right? Did you know that some people wipe their tushy while standing up, while other people wipe their tushy while standing down? And the interesting part is that when you hear about this, you will have people get into vehemently debates over the fact on how you should wipe your tushy, standing up or standing down. Like, this is an actual issue. Where was I? Here. I need to figure out of a way to put it in. It's the slime, I mean. Only if it's a Dragon Warrior slime, I see. Some people use a water jet. See, the water jet I actually understand. Like, the water jet is probably the most comfortable one. It's probably good. And you save money on toilet paper, you save the trees. Do you wipe from front to back or back to front? If you're a woman, you should never wipe back to front. Because if you wipe back to front, then you can carry it someplace else and you can get an infection. Do you know they actually teach that at nursing school? Like, if you have female patients, they teach you how to wipe. You think I'm joking, but I am not. Speaking of asses, I'll probably make a video about this on my main channel because, on my secondary channel. Because I legitimately am completely baffled by this. So, this VTuber, totally not Yuri from Face Connect, is showing us her gaming chair. Now, if you don't hear it, I will translate. She will sell her gamer girl chair.
It's in peak condition.
It's in peak condition.
You can see, pristine.
And she also says that it's customizable. But you can pull the black stuff and you can make it white. Now, this is not what I'm showing this. My legit question. Alright? Like, this is what I want to know. I have used up many gaming chairs in my life. Demo, what type of ass does she possess? Like, what type of ass does this woman have in order to do these unspeakable things to a chair? I have never managed to get a chair into this condition. Like, the only way it can happen is if you have it for like 20 years and refuse to change it. Maybe you're like a Twitch streamer, but not because you're streaming on the platform Twitch, but because you have a twitchy ass. I mean, this lady can probably destroy a tank with her ass. I'm genuinely curious. Like, if you put her on top of a Russian tank and you leave her there for like a couple of years, is she going to cause the Russian military attrition because she destroys the tank? How can you? My God. I mean, I had cats that ripped off on the chair and it didn't look like this. Let me see if it's because... I think it's because she has cats. No, it's not because she has cats. Because if you had cats, you'd notice like small scratch markings here and there. But no, like, this is literally someone with a rear going up and down over a long period of time. It's like water breaking a rock. This is what happened. Did you know, apparently, like, she's putting it for a sale? My opinion, and this is my humble opinion, she's probably going to get like $5,000 for it if she puts it on an auction. Like, no self-respecting simp is going to pay less than $5,000 for that. How do you even transport it? Like, it's so difficult. Like, do you think, like, she will unpack it? And she'll probably have to unpack it, right? So, like, she puts it in a package. I mean, for $5,000, I'm sure they'll find a way. Her farts must be so bad, it tears the fabric. You think this is what's happening? It's like the farts? I think it's just like moving up and down. Like you twitch a lot in the chair. You wiggle the tushy constantly. By the way, this is why people should actually stop buying gaming chairs. Unironically, really bad product. If you want good chairs, buy an office chair. You see, people that run corporations, they do care about worker productivity. They don't really care about workers' comfort, but like they do realize that sometimes maybe a little bit of comfort can increase productivity, and if it's not a lot of money to spend, then fine. So they designed the office chair. The office chair is the perfect thing in order to make sure that you're sitting comfortably at the computer. for long periods of time. Now, the office chair doesn't look any good. It's not that great, but it's going to do wonders for your back. And surprisingly, it is very resistant. This is an office chair. Like this shit that I have behind me is an office chair. I forgot how much I paid for it. It's I think it's like the medium range. But I can guarantee to you, it's going to last me 4 years. It's already lasted 1 year, and it doesn't have a single scratch mark on it. The Saint, I didn't get my original bioremorse. You did. I did say it in the chat, I guess. Like, you probably didn't see it, but I typed it. I thought I'd attempt a second time. Thanks for many years of entertainment. Just wanted my piece of buyer's but I do appreciate it, this Saint. And hopefully you have a nice place in Australia, because I heard that's like a death world. You know, yesterday, there was in the news, it's a very shocking video. I do not understand like how this video managed to get pushed around. Because usually these types of videos are banned on social media. But there was a video of a man getting eaten by a shark. Happened in Egypt. A Russian man. Very, very disturbing. Also, people with low IQ. It's like, why didn't anyone go out there to help him? I mean, they did, but, like, how? Right? Like, unless you have a boat, right? It's like, why didn't the lifeguard go there to help? Like, you know, like, sometimes people just need to think a little bit about what they're asking. Like, you're in the middle of the water, alright? Like, think about it. You're in the middle of the water, and there's a shark that's attacking you in the water, right? The fuck can the lifeguard do? You can have, like, 10 lifeguards. They're not going to do shit. It's like, but anyway, right? Why didn't they shoot him? Like, how? With a sniper rifle? Another intelligent person is like, well, if they shot him, they could have hit the man. I don't think that's the problem. Hell, if there was a shark after me, I would probably rather be hit by a bullet at that point. Just put me out of my misery, because those things look painful. Yeah, no, like, seriously, like, the thing is tragic. Like, honestly, it's a harrowing video. But, like, the questions around it is just, like, making me reconsider the intelligence of people on the internet, which, from my initial assessment, was quite low. But every single time I hear internet netizens speak, I lower my expectations further. Like, I wonder if there's a point that I can stop lowering them because it's going to be, like, ground level. But no, apparently I have to dig in order to lower it further than it's supposed to. Galaxtriel strap in the ocean in playtime. Yeah, okay, so Galaxtriel would probably help the man from the shark. Yes. No, like, look, the only way you can actually do something is if you have a boat, and you get in the boat, and you drive with the boat really fast, and you manage to help the guy up. But unfortunately, things happen so fast, and there isn't like a lifeguard, there isn't a lifeguard that has a boat ready. Okay? So that is the reason why they didn't help him. There's not much you can do in that situation. So by the time, they probably do have like a boat that's patrolling, and they probably radioed the boat, but it takes time for that to arrive. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is that it took place in Egypt, and it's very hilarious because my wife wanted to go there, literally to that beach. And last year, also 2 other people got killed in sharks attacks. Same place. One of them a Romanian woman. I don't think I'm going to go there. I know, probably nothing would happen, but I'm a superstitious individual. I will not travel to Egypt. But what I did look, because I was curious, like, how many sharks attack people? A lot of, for some fucking reason, the internet wants you to know that this is very rare. And I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like, people usually don't stay in the water, so of course it's going to be rare. So he's getting stung by a stingray, but tell that to Mr. Irving. Steve Irwin. I don't understand. It's like, well, it's very rare. It's like, okay. But you know what's rarer? If I don't put myself in the position. Jesus fucking Christ. So I was told that it's very rare, but the most high number of shark attacks happen in Australia. V doesn't want to be a shark snack. Man, it's like a really fucked up way to go, isn't it? To be honest, there are worse, like getting mauled by a bear. There is another harrowing video, which is on YouTube. Apparently there was a guy which went out in the forest in order to document bears. The bear guy or something. I forgot what. Right? But he would go out in the forest in order to see the bears. And unfortunately, he was dragging a lady with him, which really didn't like the bears. And this guy was like a social justice activist for bears, right? Like he would always say like how nice they are and how humans need to do better and how we shouldn't consider them to be dangerous animal. He got eaten by a bear. The woman that he was dragging with got eaten as well. Now the thing about bears is that while a cat, and this is true for most felines, I'm sure that there may be exceptions, but usually a cat at least has the common decency to kill you before eating you, right? Like it goes for the jugular. The bear does not. The bear literally eats the thing alive, right? So you can hear the guy screaming while the bear is snacking on his leg and shit. So I think like that, yeah, like that would be a worse way to go than being killed by a shark. But still, yeah. It was on camera. Demo Shkushi, they had the camera lens closed. So you can only hear the sounds. But I am telling you, the sound effects are incredibly harrowing. I would not advise. There are pictures of what the rangers found after. Also very harrowing, I would not advise. But this is internet history, it's common knowledge. Here you go, V. I meant to gift you a little for your birthday stream, but I missed it. Happy belated birthday. Why, thank you, Thomas Wayne. I will use the money to fund my video game. By the way, if you guys didn't follow my video game, it's on Twitter. Do consider checking it out. It's got really good art style. This stream is 10 out of 10 so far. Why, thank you, Doug. I wish more people were here to watch it. Stop shaming bearing. Man, bears are like some of the worst. Should I say it? I should say it. Some of the worst animals. I was thinking, like nature's dicks. I'm pretty sure like there are other animals that are worse, but bears by far. Again, the main fact that they don't kill the prey while eating it is very disturbing. I mean, I disapprove. And there are certain species of bear that if you run into, you're kind of fucked. Like the polar bear, for example, right? Like other bears eat vegetables, so you may have the pleasure into running into one while it's not hungry. But the polar bear doesn't eat vegetables. No, the polar bear eats meat, and there's not that much meat to go around in the habitat where it lives. So if you run into one, you're pretty much fucked. Yeah, no, I don't like bears. I definitely think like that they're one of the worst animals. I do not. No, absolutely not. Apparently in Canada, like there's bears that walk on the street, and I'm like, so what the fuck do people do? Oh, like if you see a bear coming up, like people just move on the other side of the street, and I'm like, how can you live like that? Why do you live like that? Don't you have guns? No, it's illegal. Oh, I see. So you just let them what? Yes. But what if they're children? The children cross the street. Meh. Meh. Bears are giant masses of muscle and hunger. Yeah, like they're really nasty critters. I do not appreciate them. I do believe that cartoons have normalized bears. Yogi Bear, the cartoon, should have been banned. It should have been cancelled. It should have never aired. Bears can be kind. Just buy them a drink first. Can I spice the drink with something, or is that illegal? Yeah, anyway. Bears are cool in Russia. Some will hang out with people. So there was like this story in the United States. And I'll say this before we move on to the main thing. There was in a natural park. Apparently, people befriended the bear, so they had to shoot the bear. And the reason for it is that it was too friendly around tourists, and because the bear is a wild animal, it can snap. And it's true. It's true. Like, you have like people that raise chimpanzees and lions and stuff, and then like one day you look weird at the chimpanzee and the chimpanzee doesn't appreciate it, so it mauls you to death. You like a wild animal is a wild animal. You should not get friendly with it. You don't get jiggly with it. You know, you don't go and pet the shark or some other shit that scuba divers do, because it's a wild animal. Fuck sakes. So yeah, no, like the decision to shoot the bear was the appropriate one, but people were really upset about it, and I was like, oh yeah, so like if it ended up in a situation like the bear guy, then you wouldn't be upset about it. Wasn't there a bear who got honored for fighting Nazis in World War II? I don't know about that. I know that there's a pigeon that got honored for fighting Nazis, for carrying messages. It carried messages. That I do know. But like fighting Nazis in World War II, ich weiß nicht. Anyway, let's look at the court case, which I find to be also very interesting. So look at this lady. Why did they took a picture with her like this? It's like she knows. That's what I think. Like she knows. Anyway, so this is the activist. She also knows. Everyone knows in this picture, right? Like that. What is with this look where they're like taking the picture from a heli? Oh my fucking gosh, she's got my chair. Holy shit, this is my chair. Why does she have my chair, Chad? I have the chair of a judge. I feel so honored. So, why is Donald Trump going to prison again? I do want him to go to prison so that I see the Secret Service going to prison after him. Do you know that's a thing? You don't know that's a thing. The Secret Service, by law, is supposed to follow the president wherever he goes. Wherever he goes, chat. That's in the law. Wherever he goes. If the president goes to hell, the Secret Service has to go with him. Obviously, they're not going to sit in a cell with him, but still. A Washington judge has ordered a woman-only nude spa to accept women who identify as to accept people who identify as women. Is this correct? Can I say this? Am I allowed? People who identify as so anyone that identifies as a woman can be accepted, even if they have the penis. So as I mentioned in the beginning, right? Up until now, well, not now, up until like 4 years ago, it was considered unacceptable for a woman to be in the presence of a penis from someone that's not her boyfriend, her husband, or her child. Up until the age of 5 or so. 5 is too much already. Like, how long until mommy gets to wash the little boy? 3, 4, then they get to wash themselves, right? But it was considered unthinkable for a woman to be in the presence of a penis that belongs to a stranger, yes? Okay, now it seems to be mandatory. We have progressed as a society by using language games and new definitions, right? So because language evolved, customs evolved along with language. Isn't that fascinating? Hold on, let me pop the chat out. All right, pop the chat. Why do people say no way? Like, what world have you been living with? Like, I would have been shocked if it was the other way around. You seen this this hentai before? I see. Well, Seattle District Court judge, do give this video a thumbs up. It helps me with the algorithm, by the way. It makes YouTube think that I'm more popular than I am. Seattle District Judge Court Barbara Jacobs Rosenstein on Monday upheld a discrimination ruling against Olympus Spa, which filed by local trans activist Haven Vilvich, who gloats about being more woman than many feminists who are only incidental. See, I learned something. I thought that we're in the gender abolition page, but as I mentioned before, being a woman seems to be a dial. Like some women can be more women than others. I would say that if you gloat about being more woman, I will call you a woman plus. We can use legacy women and women plus. Is that okay? Like if you actually go out and you gloat and you say, yes, I'm more of a woman. Perfect, you are woman plus. They won't let you donate. But you always get me to say shit that will get me in trouble, American Outrider. Maybe it's a good thing you can't donate. How about that? Do donate and then write what you want to say and I'll read it. It willingly accepted transgender women, but only if they have gone through post-op sex confirmation surgery. So basically, like, the spa was reasonable, right? It was saying, just get rid of the penis, because this is what we have a problem with. But no. Wilvich identifies as a woman, but is biological male and has not undergone the sex reassignment surgery. The court paper said nothing that the activist never actually went to the spa. So they didn't even went to the spa. Well, yeah, but like an activist, their job isn't to actually find discrimination. Their job is to be in the spotlight. So the activist is doing a really good job. Wilvich told the Post on Friday that the complaint came after a phone call to the spa, not a visit, and being told that pre-op trans women were not allowed. They were breaking Washington state law, and I reported the violation, the activist said. It knows that patrons are required to be nude in the pool area, but can wear a gown provided by the spa in other areas. Wilvich first complained in February 2020, and the Washington State Human Rights Commission later agreed that the Korean spa discriminated against Wilvich based on sexual orientation. See, this is my question, though, and I would love if an activist can answer. Even Slanesh would be ashamed of this shit? Nah, Slanesh would love it. Because otherwise, Slanesh would be banned from the bathroom. See, this is my question. And I do have a question for left-leaning, open-minded, oriented people. I'm struggling to understand, legit. V is not lying. The Ergo office chair are great and just upgraded to a new one. Also, V, in my opinion, Felicia's, if you remember her, Tushy, would have caused more damage to that chair. That is correct. What if that VTuber has the Felicia Tushy? Did you think about that? But, as I was asking, so, chat, help me out. We're a lot of people here together. I'm pretty sure all of you guys have professions from various fields of activity, and maybe you can bring your knowledge to solve my problem, right? Because I have seen people on TikTok, which is the place where I go to get wisdom whenever I'm confused, telling me that if you refuse to have sex with a female with a penis, you're a bigot, right? That's transphobia. So, that is number one. That's the most extreme statement. If you do, like, if you date a person and you find out, and you're straight, right? So you date a person and you're straight, and you find out they have a penis, if you do not suck it, then you are a bigot. You are transphobic. I'm not kidding. Like, I can go on TikTok and pull those videos, right? So, but let's not talk about it. Like let's put that in a drawer and remember it later, right? Like, let's put that for later use. The second thing that I understand is from this judge, which states that if a person identifies as a woman, then they can enter a space where women are naked. I think, like, everyone agrees. Like, this is the mainstream thought, right? Like, if you go outside and you poll people, this is, like, the correct response you're getting. Vosh will shake my hand, pat my back, because I am an excellent human being, right? I have the correct opinion. So, my question is as following. If I were to go and I identify as a woman, and I enter that spa, and while I'm in the spa, I identify as a man, do they kick me out? But what if while they're kicking me out, I identify as a woman again? What happens then? Do I get a fine or not? What if I'm having sex with a liberal, open-minded, oriented person, and I say I identify as a woman, and now they have to do sex with me because otherwise they're bigots, right? So while I'm inside them, I identify as a man again. Is that a problem? Would that be considered rape? What if I only identify for a second? What if I identify when I'm outside, but then I identify again and I go back inside? Like, these are very difficult questions that I wish someone could answer. But unfortunately, no one wants to have this conversation because they don't need to have the conversation because you guys censor your ass. With great penis comes great responsibility, yes. It is interesting, you know, like, so many questions, so little answers. It's an interesting new world that we have to learn new definitions constantly in order to navigate the dangerous society we live in. Here's another thing that you can notice how the definitions don't make sense anymore. Let me see if I can find the new... here we go, right. So, Let's use progressive definitions to see if we can make sense of the world around us. Have you guys heard that non-white people cannot be racist? Right? So minorities cannot be racist because race is privilege plus power. White people have the power, like He-Man holding the power sword. And only white people can be racist, right? Like, we do not argue this. This is the wisdom that I'm getting from the academia, right? So we write it down. Minorities cannot be racist. Okay. Fair enough. Now, second statement. The worst form of racism is white supremacy, right? So racism, like if you allow racism to foster, it gathers around, it bubbles like in a pot, and it turns into white supremacy. Okay, so what do we learn from the academia, from the university? The first thing we have learned is non-white people cannot be racist. The second thing we learned is that white supremacy is the worst type of racism. Okay, and now I will hit you with number 3. Number 3 is that white supremacists are not always white. So some white supremacists are not racist because they're not white. Because white people cannot be racist. So in some cases, white supremacy, but like white supremacy is the worst racism, but I guess like it has components that are not, How does it work? See, can you imagine how the left would have to deal without censorship? Like actually having to explain this shit? It would drive a person insane. Maybe this is why there is an overlap between certain medical conditions which influence the CAPESA and a large demographic of TikTok users. It's because they try to rationalize this. They try to make sense of this and they realize they can't. So they're not even bothering. They're like, okay, well, just tell me what to say and it's fine. It's Schrodinger supremacist. Is this how it works? You're getting tired with the mental gymnastics? Well, imagine if you're actually a leftist and you read the definitions as they're coming, as the firmware gets updated, that you have to constantly read through it. Imagine what that does to the brain. Anyway, did you know that Mortal Kombat came out? Well, it did. But before that, there's one more video that I wanted to show you. Imagine you have a time machine. Right? So I want you all to imagine this. Like this would be the best trolling ever. You got a time machine and you travel back into the past during the Bush era. Or no, you know what? In the 80s when they went like Dungeons and Dragons is satanic. You travel back in time to that point, right? When they had the satanic panic and they were like, oh my god, heavy metal is the music of the devil. So you go back in time and you show them this picture, but without any additional commentary. Hold on, let me see if I can have like desktop audio properties. We don't want the speaker. We want the I think we want this. Let me see if it works now.
So proud of Sister Roma and her work.
Right. So you're going back in time into the 80s, right? Like when your grandparents were still middle-aged. And you show them this, but with no commentary whatsoever, just nothing added. You just show this.
So proud of Sister Roma and her work in the community, and I'm proud of California for standing strong to support LGBTQ people as our community is under assault in the rest of the country.
Sister Roma went on to say it's an incredible honor to have been nominated. She says being recognized not only means a lot to her, but the LGBTQ community at large.
Right. What do you think would happen? Wouldn't it have been like an interesting conversation? You know what I would say? I would say like, why are you showing us this? Because I wanted to spark a conversation. Legit, I had my minority status challenged within a single conversation. Did you though, Cero? Is that how it works? Well, when minorities hold a different view than the liberal narrative, the blackface of white supremacy, seeing Larry Elder. Amidala. I do think like the makeup is a little bit inspired from the Queen Amidala character, yes. But like here's what I don't understand. I thought that I think like this confuses liberals as well. Because I thought that drag queens are the transgender individuals. I thought that they're just performing, right? Like there is a difference. It's a performance. It's not like they do not identify as women. They do not believe that they are women. Like the whole point is that they are men performing a role. Right? So that's a drag queen. Because, like, other than that, like, you wouldn't have a definition for a drag queen. It would be like a trans person, right? So, like, because there are two words to define things, it means that they're separate things. But it seems that the liberal people don't even know the distinction anymore because they are using she pronouns for a drag queen. Like, drag queens do not go by the name she, as far as I know. But, like, what do I know? You know, I was just part of the furry community and I happened to meet a couple, but it is what it is. Zero, thank you for becoming a member to the channel. They are redefining everything. I do not think like they're redefining this on purpose. I legitimately think they do not know. Like, I think they progressed so far that they didn't have time to catch up with the literature. Now, again, like, I actually did a little bit of research into these Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence because I was curious, like, why on earth are they so different than other LGBT groups, which aren't getting any flack? I mean, there's so many other LGBT organizations that no one cares, right? So why this particular one? Well, it turns out that they are doing a tactic which left-leaning activists have been doing for a while, and it's a perfected tactic, works very well, which is to be the antagonist, and when you receive criticism, you pretend that you're the victim, and you mold around the criticism like chakra and turn it into cash. Anita Sarkeesian is probably one of the people that you know who coined this very well. She would go around and insult gamers, right? So an entire community of people, call them sexist, misogynistic, right? Like all the bad words, you know, suggesting that gamers are creating a rape culture, like things that no one wants to be called, right? And when people would be like, well, who the fuck are you? Shut the fuck up. And I'd be like, oh, look, they're attacking me because I'm a woman, right? And the media would never report the inflammatory, antagonistic things that she was saying, the way that she was attacking a community. Like, they never reported on that, right? So the average person, which read the newspaper, it's like, oh, look, this is a pretty woman. Like, she's just talking about video games. She's a critique. And for some reason, gamers just attack her. Like, this is not okay. I'm going to donate money to her, right? Like, this is how the activism works. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence operate in the same manner, right? So they disguise, well, they use, like, the makeup in order to make themselves look like Christian nuns. And then on Easter, which, again, I'm just an atheist, but I do happen to know a little bit of Christianity. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Easter is considered to be the most holy days in the Christian calendar, right? Because it's the resurrection. It's like the proof that he is the Son of God. Like, that is the most amazing thing, right? Like, came back from the dead. All right. Well, like, personally, I would have said that when he resurrected Lazarus was already, that was astonishing by itself. But apparently, like, resurrecting yourself, like, all right, fine. Okay, so he respawned. If you respawn, you're, all right. To make a mockery out of that, to have, like, people dressed as Jesus and doing a performance next to a Christian cross on Easter, I would suggest that it may be a little bit offensive for the Christian denomination. I'm not an expert, but I would say, yeah, like that can offend a couple of people if you do that. Do I need to say, well, if they did it to a rabbi, you know, like they were dressed as rabbis and did it on the Passover, that may offend Jewish people, right? Would anyone be shocked? Would anyone be surprised? Probably not. You know, if they would do it to, heaven forbid, Muhammad, if they do it to Muhammad, I mean, I don't even need to explain what would happen, right? So, that would also be offensive. But the reason people do not act in surprise is because Christians can take it, right? Christians can always take it. It's like, well, they're the punching bag. They never complain. It's like that kid in the school that always takes it from the bully, never complains. And at one point, the kid snaps, and everyone is Pikachu face. It's like, oh, why did the kid snap? Like, what happened? But when this happened, when they snapped, it's just like they refused to go to the baseball game. Because they refuse to go to the baseball game, they're bigots. Okay. Naruhodo. Good luck, LA Dodgers, or whatever the fuck they're called. Quit gaming at 40, best decision of my life. That's quit gaming. What the fuck do you mean quit gaming? There's nothing to game. Why would you even game? Like, if you want a game tomorrow, what would you play? There's nothing. Wait for me to release my game, and then you can restart playing. I guarantee to you, the game that I'm making is perfect for people at the age of 40. I'm not touching you while putting my finger really close to your eyes. The provocation is the weapon. But it's not even that, like... It's not that the provocation is the weapon, right? Because, like, nothing bad happened to them. Like, being uninvited from an event is not harassment, okay? It's not discrimination. Like, you can invite other LGBT groups, just not this one. Like, find another. Is this like, no, you're not allowed. Like, this one is sacred for some fucking reason. There's no other groups. It's the same thing with, like, the Budweiser Dylan Mulvaney controversy, right? It's like, get another trans person. There are many. Like, surely you can find that. No. Dylan Mulvaney is the one we want. Okay. But it is bizarre. People are saying, well, it's because they're connected to Hollywood and they have, like, an agency. That's not the fucking point. It's a controversial person. Antagonistic. Did you hear about the teacher telling off a Muslim student for not wanting to participate in LGBT activities? Yes, I did hear that. In any other situation, if you spoke like that to a Muslim child, you'd be in big trouble, big trouble, legal trouble. But I guess, like, there are situations where you can speak like that to a Muslim child and not be in trouble. V is afraid of zombies, so he won't play 7 days. I wanted to play Street Fighter. Do you guys want to see me play Street Fighter? Unfortunately, though, it turns out that I lost a couple of matches before the stream, and it soured me, and I didn't want to play. I want to improve a little bit before I can play in front of the stream. Turn the other cheek. Look, I never said that I appreciate all Christian philosophy. I do think, like, turn the other cheek is one of the worst teachings in Christianity. Unironically, right? Because, like, turn the other cheek can work in some situations, right? It assumes that the other person has some form of empathy, right? That's what it assumes. That, like, basically, if you want to hit someone and then they turn the other cheek, it makes you feel bad, right? Like, but in order for that to work, the other person legitimately must have empathy. If the other person doesn't have empathy and you turn the other cheek, they will hit you again until you can't get up. So that's not a good, like, survival mechanism. Like, there are times where you're not supposed to turn the other cheek, right? Like, it really depends on the circumstance and the situation you are in. Yeah, but eye for an eye is in the Bible. See, I dislike people who just read the Bible without actually understanding what it's supposed to be. Like, maybe the Catholic Church had a point when it didn't want the Bible to be translated. Because you have the old law, and then you have, like, the new law. You know, like, when Jesus comes, that's the New Testament. That's why it's called Christianity. Because it has Christ in the name. Right? Like, Christianity. The ideology of Christ. That's pretty much how you translate it. And there are inconsistencies, right? But the clergy explains away the inconsistencies. Like, for example, Jesus says that he did not come to change the law, but there are points where he literally de facto changes the law. So it is what it is. Yeah, Jesus says change nothing about the old law. Okay, fine. So there is this part in the Old Testament where a guy is picking up sticks on the Sabbath, and when they find him, they stone him to death because you're not allowed to work on Sabbath, right? That's how much they care about. Then Jesus says, oh, well, actually, there are exceptions to this. You should be able to work on Sabbath. Like, for example, if a donkey falls in a ditch, like, what do? Do you let him in the ditch until he dies? No, you're going to pull him out, even if it's a Sabbath. And then he said, well, I'm not here to change the law. Well, motherfucker, you just changed the law back then. Like, what? Like, I can pull up many examples like that. Golem is a good game. Shut the fuck up, Coldest Beer. Eye for an eye means you should not kill someone for breaking your eye. It's about justice instead of revenge. Yeah, I guess like eye for an eye is more like you shouldn't hurt someone more than they hurt you. Like basically, if someone tries to get you fired, no, sorry, if someone offends you, you shouldn't try to ruin their livelihood by getting them fired. Right? Like that's pretty much what it means. Now take into account that a lot of people look back in time and they think that corporal punishment and stuff like that was very horrible and brutal. But also take into account that back in the day, they would not be able to run an institutionalized prison. Like if you actually brought a modern day prison from America back in the medieval time, you would be shocked about how many people would want to live there. I mean, for a peasant, which suffers from various illnesses and sometimes starvation, and he has to toil the land 12 hours a day, you're telling him, yeah, you can go to this place, you don't have to work, you can live like a noble, you get free healthcare, free food, and free all of that. Many peasants would probably want that. And the idea, like what I'm trying to get is that it wasn't possible back then with the technology they had and the resources they had, it wasn't possible to do mass incarceration. And because of that, they would do corporal punishment. Now, it's interesting because if you ask a lot of people, like, what do you want? Do you want like 20 lashes or do you want 1 year in prison? Many people would take the fucking lashes. So it is what it is. You know, this is an actual debate that I don't think we can have on social media. Catholicism has the no servile work in the Sabbath. Means paid work, not necessary work. Ah, yes, Redditard moment, sure. Now go ask the religious denomination, which in my language is called Sembetist. You would pretty much like say Saturdaists. I do not know how they identify themselves because I'm pretty sure like they have another name. But there is a Christian denomination, which I guess you would call Redditards, but they have been probably older than 100 years and they have significant numbers. And they legitimately flat out refuse to do anything on the Sabbath. Anything at all. To the point where if they're a doctor, they refuse to come to work on a Saturday. Alright? Like, no, so like, don't give me this shit. Because like, oh, well, you do not understand. Catholicism said there are religious denominations that read the Bible and came to a different conclusion. It's actually really interesting. Like, they organize their entire day. So like, first of all, they believe that the Sabbath is on a Saturday, right? So they do not believe that Sunday is the seventh day, and they use this as some... they're not a heretical cult. They're a denomination. The difference between a denomination and a heretical cult, I think, is like how many of them are. There's a large number of them. But the way it works is that they prepare everything from Friday. So like literally all the food, everything is prepared by Friday night. So that Saturday they don't even cook, they don't even wash the dishes. In a way, I would think that's good because they actually spend one day with their family. So in prayer, and they actually do believe in the Lord and all of that. It is a rest day, yes. And they do not spend time on social media. They do not watch TV. They actually spend time with their family. And I feel like Jewish people do the same. Like there's a name for them. It's part of like Orthodox Jewish people. But they also have like one day where they turn off all the electronics and they just spend time with the family. That makes me remember going to church every single Sunday as a kid. Yeah, you know, like going to church every single Sunday turned off a lot of people from religion. Like when you're a kid, like, you should not do this to your child. Honestly, I would not do this to my child. Like if you want your child to be religious, the last thing you want to do is to take him to church every Sunday. Like that is the literally Hasidic, yes, the Hasidic Jews. It's kind of funny because like they have like they hire servants. I mean, it is correct, yeah, servants. And the servants like turn on and off the light they use to call the elevator up and down. But my point was that if you have a child and you want him to be Christian, do not take him to Sunday church. Like so many people have been traumatized by that, right? The thing that I really like when I was a kid was that Saturday and Sunday you wake up at any hour you wanted, right? So like you go to school every fucking day, you have to wake up at 6 a.m. The last thing you want is to be woken up another day, right? And you go to church when it's boring as fuck. So if you want your kids, this is my advice. If you want your kids to be religious, do not take them on Sunday morning, right? Like, take them during the middle of the day like a normal person. It's like, hey, we're going to church, you know, like, can you come with us? And you go at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Ah, sure, you miss Mass. Oh, fucking hell. But at least he's not going to hate the church. Just hearing someone say Sky Daddy lets you know that they've never opened a book and read for themselves. It has a way of talking to you directly, even if you just pick a page and randomly. It's kind of like making fun of the thing, I guess. It's like yeah, when you make fun of woke idea, like the word woke, they would disagree with the way it's used. But like, no, like, Sky Daddy makes sense. It's like any religion it can be. It doesn't have to be Christianity. It can be any monotheistic religion. But when I say, for example, give money to give money to government so Sky Daddy is less angry, you know, I'm not necessarily making fun of religion, but I am making fun of the concept that by raising taxes you fix a global problem. Never taken advice on raising kids in faith from a childless atheist. Don't take my advice. Do your own research, right? Like, figure out how many people aren't traumatized by the fact that their parents took them to Sunday morning. And then ask yourself, why did the atheist become an atheist? Naruhodo? Like seriously, it is a problem for a lot of people, this thing. It's like, being woken up. After, so you're going like 5 days, you're going to school. And then on the 7th day, you're woken up again, and it should be a day where you're happy, you're relaxing, you're watching cartoons and stuff, but no, instead you're like, okay, wake up, we need to go to church. Oh, fucking hell. But, hey, if you don't believe me, do it, and then tell me how it went. The priest here advised parents to take kids to church at 5 p.m. See? How the fuck do I know that? Oh, God cats, you pulled me out of the predicament. The priest here advises parents to take kids to church at 5 p.m. What the fuck did I say? Did I say you shouldn't take the kid to church? No. I said you should take the kid during 3 p.m. Well, apparently this priest says 5. Whatever. It makes a lot more sense. It makes a lot more sense. Like, the kid is already awake. He already watched his cartoons, did his daily activities. Now it's 5 p.m. Time to go to church. You know, go to a little bit of a walk with the kid, buy him an ice cream, and then take him to church. Make sure that when you go to church, you also buy him an ice cream or some shit so that he can associate the road to the church with something positive. But yeah, you know, like, fine, do not listen to the atheist. Yeah, what the fuck does the atheist know? The atheist knows nothing. The atheist. Thank you for watching the stream. I appreciate it, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.